Speaker, on a lighter note, when we were signing the partnership between ODM and UDA, I didn't see Wiper present. So I don't know why Senator Wambua is complaining. I don't know why Senator Wambua is complaining and Senator Sifuna signed religiously the partnership between UDA and ODM, and Wiper was not part of engagement. Mr. Speaker, on this issue of procedural matter, Mr. Speaker, I was just coming to the defense of Senate minority.
There is a point of order, Senator Cherargei, against Senator Sifuna.
Madam Speaker, on accuracy and statement of fact, is the Senator Fonandi in order to allege that I have signed a pact between ODM and UDA? Can he be made to substantiate? Honorable Speaker, if the Senator Fonandi can produce any document signed by Edwin Sifuna on behalf of ODM with any political party called UDA, I will resign today as a Senator of Nairobi. Let him bring it here and substantiate what he's saying. I have never signed any agreement, and I don't intend to sign any agreement as Edwin Sifuna.
Senator
with
Cherargei,
the UDA party.
Can you substantiate your allegations or withdraw?
But as Speaker, I didn't say he signed. His party leader signed, Raila Odinga.
Senator Cherargei, please.
Madam Speaker,
please
I withdraw.
Thank you.
And apologize, Madam Speaker, and also indicate that
Senator Cherargei, once you've withdrawn and apologized, proceed to make your point.
But they are shouting at me, Madam Speaker.
Order, other members. Can Senator Cherargei proceed?
Sifuna is sabotaging our partnership between ODM and UDA, and it should go on record as such. Madam Speaker, I want to support this procedural motion. I was disappointed, Madam Speaker, with the selection panel. I expected very serious questions of integrity, but the selection panel of IEBC are underwhelming. They have been asking kindergarten and underwhelming and pedestrian questions, Madam Speaker. And I know you are an expert. You have sat in as Director of Elections, you have participated in electoral process, and you could see that the selection panel did not know what they were doing, Madam Speaker. And therefore, it is very unfortunate. Some of us are constrained because of constitutional timelines that is there, Madam Speaker, and we are looking at the greater good of the country. That is why we are supporting. But looking at the content that the selection panel was doing to vet and interview those interviewees, it was just an exercise in futility. I have not seen serious engagement, Madam Speaker, even having people who have PhD. That is why I said in the morning or in the afternoon that we have so many brilliant fools in this country who masquerade, Madam Speaker, and do. But without start saying, because this country has to move, Madam Speaker, and in the spirit of bipartisan and broad-based, Madam Speaker, I want to appeal to Senator Wambua to support this process. Because at the end of the day, I saw his leader, with all tremendous respect, I'll not mention the name, I saw his leader, Madam Speaker, speaking about objecting the conclusion of process. Why is it that opponents of William Ruto are fearful to have IEBC in place? It is because they fear the election itself, Madam Speaker, and they must allow, Madam Speaker. Number two, Madam Speaker.
There is a point of order, Senator Cherargei. There is Senator Wambua.
Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, understanding order 105 on matters of facts. First of all, Madam Speaker, I don't know how His Excellency Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka finds his way.
Senator Wambua, what is the point of order?
The point of order, Madam Speaker, is I want the Senator of Nandi to substantiate that Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency, is afraid of the outcome of this process. Secondly, Madam Speaker, because he raised these two issues, that, Madam Speaker, the Senator Fonandi alluded to a situation where some leaders in the opposition are afraid of one President William Samoei Ruto.
Senator Cherargei,
We want him to substantiate
can you
those statements.
please substantiate or withdraw and let this motion continue?
Madam
debate?
Speaker, the answer will bear me out because I didn't mention any name. I said his leader. Can the answer be produced, Madam Speaker, so that from there...
Senator Cherargei, in his final words, he actually said you...
Alluded.
Yes, alluded to some.
So I alluded.
No, and that's why he wants you to substantiate which these opposition leaders are that are afraid.
Okay, I will
President,
bring the
please.
names, Madam Speaker, I will bring the names on Tuesday of the opposition leaders who issue a presser objecting the IEBC selection panel, and ODM was not part of them. Why is
Senator
Senator
Cherargei, please
Sifuna agitated?
withdraw or indicate which leader, because a presser...
Madam Speaker, I will bring the names of those opposition leaders next week.
Please
Tuesday.
note that and continue with the
Okay,
motion.
thank you. Madam Speaker, on the issue of review and delimitation of boundaries of the constituencies, we must fast track, Madam Speaker, so that we can put in place and ensure, like for example in Nandi, I have the biggest ward called Klibwani. People would want to review, Madam Speaker. There are many others protected constituencies that needed to be relooked at because we have a number of protected constituencies that do not meet the criteria. Number two, Madam Speaker, there are so many by-elections, Magarini, Banisa, Baringo County, Malava. If Mheshimiwa Ruku succeeds, Madam Speaker, to be the CS, Madam Speaker, we will need Mbere not by-election, Madam Speaker. So we need the IEBC to be in place to conduct by-elections. Finally, Madam Speaker, I was misquoted. I said instead of members of parliament resigning to be the cabinet secretaries, why don't we give them responsibility allowances and appoint them to cabinet so that we save the country the agony of by-election and paying double salary? Because you only need responsibility allowance, and I was misquoted, Madam Speaker. Secondly, the cost of a voter in 2022, Madam Speaker, was 2,500. The best practice is 600 shillings per voter. It means the conduct of election per voter is still very expensive in this country. And therefore, I don't see why Mheshimiwa Ruku is appointed to the cabinet. What we should do is just give him responsibility allowances, come to parliament, go back to the cabinet so that we save salaries, Madam Speaker. So I want to tell people who are misquoting me that they don't have such opportunity. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, and my time was eaten by Senator Wambua, but he's a bishop. I support this procedural motion.
Senator Sifuna.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I must begin by registering very strong protest on behalf of the minority side as to the presence of this motion on the order paper this afternoon. When I saw this motion on the order paper, I called, and the records can show, I called the Leader of Majority, the Honorable Senator for Kericho, Aaron Cheruiyot. I was unable to reach him because we in this House have agreed that we will not transact business by ambush. It is not a surprise. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, I am extremely disappointed that it is very contemptuous for you to introduce a motion in such a way because it gives us a very difficult time in the leadership to guide our members as to how to treat this particular motion. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I protest because I don't like being made to look like a fool. Yesterday, after resolutions passed by the Central Committee of ODM, I was reading a statement saying that ODM will not countenance any further delays in the selection process of the IEBC commissioners, only to be told today that there is a motion on the order paper to extend time for this panel to do its job. And what's worse, Honorable Speaker, when I reached out to my leadership in the National Assembly, our counterparts there, they forwarded to me a letter from this panel, signed by the chair of the panel himself. The first thing I noticed, this letter was dated the 20th of March. This is 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, Honorable Speaker, this House has no idea. The second problem is that that letter is addressed only to the Speaker of the National Assembly, continuing this spate of contempt for the Senate, when they knew very well that this matter has to be processed through both houses of parliament. Honorable Speaker, it is unacceptable. It is unacceptable that we continue to be treated with such contempt. So when I go through the letter, I'm trying to find out what are the reasons. And it is clear that even the mover of this motion has no access to that request. And by the way, in that request, this panel is asking for 30 days, not 14 days. It is the National Assembly that set it at 14 days, and there is nothing that stops us as a House. at setting that deadline at 4 days or 7 days or 2 days if we wanted to. And they are citing various reasons. By the way, I do not hold brief for this panel. And I have strongly objected to, I don't want to be distracted, Honorable Speaker. Strongly objected to this.
He does not want to be informed. Let him finish.
I strongly object to some of these insinuations that somehow ODM is the one running this panel. And if you read the newspapers today, you would think that there is a war between me and Senator Wambua. It is not going to happen. Me and Senator Wambua are never going to fight. But the truth of the matter is, we also do not want these incessant accusations against ODM. Honorable Speaker, if you hear the names of the constituencies by elections that are being mentioned, majority of them are held by ODM. ODM was holding Ugunja, we are holding Magarini, we have a nominee to cabinet, and there is a young man from Kajiado waiting to replace John Bad in the National Assembly. If anything, we are the ones who are suffering the greatest prejudice. Some of these political parties that you see making noise about ODM, and I have asked Senator Wambua to distance himself